And welcome everybody, it is the last game here on week 4, day 3 of the Tencent LPL summer. It's Royal versus World Elite here. My name, of course, is Pastry Time, and I'm going to be joined by Papa Smithy for our last game. Papa, great matches all weekend today, but here it is, the last one. A little hot and cold Royal have been, and of course World Elite really trying to make sure they do better than they did in spring. What can we expect here between these two teams?
It's actually a really fitting game to end this week 4. I mean, 7 weeks in the LPL league stages. This will be the end of the 4th week, so about the halfway point or just after. Both these teams need a win here to cap off their week and kind of define their seasons, I think, because both teams are lost to OMG this week. Both teams just desperately need this win. I mean, if World Elite win this game, they move into just outright 3rd. They'll be 1 game behind Positive Energy, and within touching distance of the top. Royal, on the other hand, 5 and 6 entering this game. They need to start hitting that 500%, that .50, hit that 50% win rate to just stay in touching distance. Otherwise, they risk falling behind even further.
And it really is one of the things that, as you said, we get to the middle of the season, things really start to matter as the results come through. But the bans are finished here. Royal going to go with Nunu, Thresh, and Cannon as their 3 bans. And World Elite have got Elise, Zac, and Twisted Fate, which is quite interesting because they're, of course, a very well-known Twisted Fate team, but they don't seem to want to give that one away to Royal. Instead, though, they will give up what is fast becoming the top pick here in the LPL. It's Twitch, Papa Smithy.
I gotta say, Royal must know something. World Elite must know something about Royal here, just because when you think of whites, you expect them more to play those Twisted Fate counters, those mobile assassins, compared to that mobile Twisted Fate. But look, he's banned out here, and as you say, Twitch, the AD carry du jour, we have seen him fall today, so he hasn't been, a part of 100% wins like it was yesterday, but still. Very, very strong pick.
Yeah, and the picks there for World Elite for 1 and 2. They're going to go with Renekton and Jarvan. So, big statement there. Big, nice, tanky front line. Does a lot of work from the jungle, does Jarvan. And Renekton, we've seen, he's so consistent in lane. Always seems to get things going. A good pusher, good in 1v1s. Just a good guy to have in your team in general. So, not too surprised to see those 2 picks there from WE. We're all going to go with Annie and Shen, interestingly enough. So, going to pick that Shen. They could potentially struggle in the top against Renekton, depending on how they want to land it. And I do like Annie here as well. Not only does it fit how Whites likes to play, but of course we have seen support Annie before as well.
Yeah, and it was support Annie coming out of Taba here on the Royal side. So, I mean, Twitch Annie, can you just think of the burst potential coming out? And with the Fizz pick here, it is going to be a support Annie. They do show their bot lane in response to this Ezreal Blitzcrank lane. And
interestingly enough, I actually really like support Annie against Blitzcrank. It's one of those things where it seems like Annie's kind of squishy, but she's actually reasonably robust, and if you ever grab her, she usually gets in a position where she can perfectly initiate on you, and just in general, you kind of just bring the burst to you, which is never what you really want against Annie, who's already just kind of keeping you away with stuns and poking you with the very long-range auto attack. So I don't know if World Elite have got something in mind here with Blitzcrank. It's something that we've seen mainly just from OMG, from Big Pomelo. We haven't really seen it from any of the other teams, but interesting here to see it come out from Fizzif. But I guess if anybody was going to make some kind of quirky, very high mechanical skill cap support champion work, it's probably Fizzif, because that Syndra we saw from him, I think even yesterday, was pretty amazing.
Absolutely, and the last pick coming out here is Lissandra. Messiah on Lissandra, that mid Lissandra looked super strong, so nice to see the return to that. And yeah, I mean, now that we've seen support Annie the 2nd time, you're just seeing some exciting things out, just because once you build that Sightstone, once you get that flat health, you actually get very high resists from that Molten Shield, her E ability, so she does synergize very well with health, which is pretty much the only stat you get on a support. And then, as you say, if you hook her in, and I kind of disagree in a way. I mean, up until level 6, she is pretty super squishy, so Blitzcrank does have that kill pressure on her, much as if the Annie was a Sonar or something. But after that, as you say, getting hooked in, 5-man Tibbers potential.
Yeah, definitely Annie, as you mentioned, scariest at level 6 as a support, for sure. I mean, scariest in general, I think, when she gets her ultimate, but certainly as a support, that's the case here. As Taba, you can see him charging up his stun here, got that AoE on W, so can walk through here. Very aggressive level 1 potential here for Royal. They've got the Shen taunt as well, plenty of damage to follow up in here. Be curious to see if they can pick up a kill. World Elite, on the other hand, actually gone through the bottom side there, through the Tri-Bush. They're going to go over towards the red side of the jungle there for Royal. So both teams kind of invading, possibly going to get away with a free buff here as well, depending on what they want to do. It looks like Royal want to camp this one out, and World Elite now backing off, put 1 ward down, interestingly enough, not the usual 2 we see from them.
Yeah, they are against a Shyvana jungle, so at least on paper they do have the jungle pressure advantage, but no, there's the second ward. It is a Tri-Brush ward this time.
Yep, just deciding they want that entrance instead. So still got decent vision there towards the lower side of the map, perhaps protecting their bottom lane here. But Fizz actually going to find somebody out. Blitzcrank always good in a level 1, but very, very lucky there for World Elite, you have to think, to just kind of spot off what's going on and make sure that they can spot Royal there, because that would have been a devastating level 1 if Royal had not been seen there. But Fizz,
the level 1 isn't over yet, Pastram, just because they are boxed in here. What will happen?
That's true. Fizz looking for a grab. He's probably going to go over the top. He finds Tabe. That's good news. The damage coming in, an instant flash out there from that Annie. In fact, they're maybe going to follow up here. Royal, I think, going to be able to get out here, so everyone's going to back away slowly. In fact, Annie kind of caught in the wrong situation here. Fizzov could look for another grab if he wants to. Now Tabe going to go forward there. Ignite used there on Fizzov, and that's first blood there for that Blitzcrank.
It's a nice advantage. Just such a horrible position to be caught there. Whites had already gone back to base, now heading up the top lane here, so 4 members with nowhere to run. 1 kill on the support. I mean, at least it's just a single set of summoners down from a Royal side.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that may tip the balance a little in terms of how that lane was going to go, and if Blitz gets some early gold. But I do like that. I don't know who initiated the swap necessarily. I have to think it's Royal, but I do like that they're putting Annie Twitch mid, because you can really, really pressure a mid laner. Even someone like Lissandra, you know, who's got a low cooldown Q that she can spam out and really kind of farm relatively safely. Annie is already frustrating to play against as a laner because of how long her auto range is and how threatening her stun is. With the Twitch in there as well, going to probably be quite hard times for Messiah there in the mid lane.
Absolutely, and then the zone pressure that Tabe will have when the stun's up will serve double duty. It'll zone Lissandra in the lane, and it also leads to the potential of the roaming gank squad with that Shyvana, even adding a bit of CC punch to a potential Shyvana gank.
Yeah, and then down the bottom as a result, Shen's get a 1v2 there against the other bottom lane for World Elite with their Ezreal plus Blitzcrank combo. Again, Blitzcrank's kind of weird in 1v2s, because it's like, well, if he gets pressure on, never mind, that was lucky in the top lane, forcing the flash out from someone. White's very aggressive onto that Renekton, and that is the kill coming out there from Lucky. We've said it before, Papa Smoothie, Shyvana, she may not be the best ganker, but when she gets in on top of you, she does massive, massive damage.
And World Elite, clearly, Xiaomei at least has not been watching those VODs from last week, and has not noticed that it's when the Shyvana's gotten ahead, specifically when those early wards aren't down, that Shyvana has really snowballed and gotten very, very strong in these games. But in the few games we've seen this week with good ward coverage, the Shyvana has been much more muted.
Yeah, man at the top. I'm just going to cover there. Looks like a taunt down the bottom, and they're going to do a little bit of damage to Ezreal as Fizz there with the Power Fist does knock up that Shen. So, God, like, I guess understandably struggling in the 1v2, but Shen's going to be okay, I think. Just how much pressure they can get on. You can see Fizz there down the bottom lane. I mean, one of the things we've seen when we've seen Blitzcrank specifically in this situation against Shen specifically is that not only can he get grabbed, what happens there, but a good taunt away there as well, as they are looking for a bit of damage. But Blitzcrank, he's melee, Papa Smithy. He can get himself very easily taunted into tower range.
Absolutely, and that's the thing that we've said time and time again this week. It always seems to be that Shen matchup that ends up with a 2v1 for Blitzcrank, but it's not an easy one for him, just because Shen, he can taunt Blitzcrank anytime he goes for turret damage, and he'll take 2 turret shots, not even the one that sometimes gets threaded through when you have a ranged support.
Yep. Sai here just getting CS where he can, doing a decent job so far. At 22 CS they compared to, I guess, we're actually looking at Shen here, is at 7 in their 1v2 here. Lucky now coming down the bottom lane. Shen's backed off towards the base, going to come back in there with a cloth armor now as well, and a couple of potions to try and make his journey down here a little better. As I was trying to allude to before, there's not... Blitzcrank pressure in a 2v1 is weird, because it feels like you have more kill pressure than push pressure, but World Elite, to their credit, actually doing a decent job here. Is Messiah going to come through Tabe very low there, and that squishy Annie, as you mentioned, Papa Smithy. A target here is now Uzi, going to potentially look to get himself grabbed. Fizz, can he make it blind? He looks for a minion. I think maybe thought Twitch was duped that way.
That was a blind observation time. He wasn't just going farm mode there, but no. Yeah, he was hoping against hope that that was the joke.
Yeah, but no, Uzi going the way that was expected there, up towards the left-hand side of the map. World Elite now going to group there and just do a little bit of damage to this mid turret. I have to say though, didn't really notice it, but I guess with Ezreal just happily down there with Shen, nice roam actually from Fizz to the mid, and that is one thing you can do as blitz support early on. And
you were noting the CS values here. Shen really smarting for CS. Not too surprising, as you noted with that low cooldown Q, you just have so much wave clear available with Messiah as the Lissandra here. That the awkward thing for Royal here is they're trying to hold Lissandra down and they're trying to take that mid turret. But if they give up too many kills, or if they take that mid turret before, or if they can't take that mid turret, you know, they are in a situation where the 1v2 laner will come out with much more experience and gold.
Yeah, and it seems like almost a stroke of genius there from Fizzle, just to be like, you know what, I kind of know what's going on. Normally the jungler's the one that comes in to babysit the 2v1 lane, but, you know, he just roams there, able to get a kill, and that's a lot of pressure taken off that mid lane.
Looking down the CS values here, mostly comparable around the lanes. I mean, look at this top CS actually. Fizz actually winning heads up against Renekton. I mean, Renekton has died once, so you would expect a bit of a CS advantage, but 19, very healthy lead for Whites.
Yeah, it seems like White's actually very comfortable here in the top. In fact, going to go in again on the Renekton. Lucky coming through now, trying to look for it, but there's the slice up from Renekton, so Salme going to be okay up here in the top. In fact, Dice is out as well, does not want anything to do with that Shyvana. Man's coming in on Java to try and equalize this here in the top lane, but that tower's very low in the top there. Tabe actually clearing out the ward as well. Had a pink ward sitting in the tri-bush, and there we go. Interestingly enough, the first tower to fall is in the 1v1 lane. That Shyvana pressure really helped up top there for Royal.
Absolutely, and we'll have to note that down in their diaries. That's the first time I've ever seen a turret fall in not a 2v1 lane. There was two of them, but it's the 1v1 lane that proves the difference.
Uzi here looking for the ambush, just throwing out some damage. Messiah thinking about that one there with Man coming through there as well. Level 5 on Java, not quite that 6. So couldn't use the ultimate, but I think always nice as Lissandra to just use your E and threaten you coming in, because of course if they don't expect it, and you can maybe catch them out and get a kill very easily, as we've seen with Lissandra's great initiation ability. Bottom turret falls now as well there for World Elite, so they'll be happy to pick that one up, but kind of a close game here. World Elite actually carved themselves out a few hundred gold in the lead right now with the extra kill that they've gotten, but still, I think now that the two towers have fallen here, one in top, one in bot, not the way we normally expect it to happen, but still happen nonetheless, be interesting to see how this game kind of opens up in the early stages.
And look, with 2v1 lanes in full effect in this game, World Elite will be super happy that with the way the lanes worked out, they have kept up their mid turret here. That's the important thing here. They'll definitely take this turret trade, given that it should have, or most likely was, going to be that mid turret.
Yeah, I mean, for all the pressure that Messiah's been under, he's farmed absolutely beautifully under tower, you have to think. I mean, out farming Salme, someone definitely known for really farming up a storm, although Renekton has struggled a little there in the top lane. Looks like Dragon's actually going to get started here by Royal as well. Tabe looking aggressive, finds a fast down to Messiah. Jarvan could be in trouble. Sorry, Man is the one to go down there as the jungler for World Elite falls, and a good bit of pressure there. Lots and lots of cooldowns used there from Royal to try and make that happen. Fizzif now looking to pick somebody off as well. You can see all of Royal backing off kind of towards the Dragon, trying to get behind it so they can't get hooked. Lissandra going in. Lucky could be in trouble. The ultimate activated there as well. Zhao getting chased down, but there's Stand United actually coming through as well, and Lucky picks up the kill there on Messiah as a good attempt comes through. Godlike now over the top, looking for Wei Zhao, and could get that one as Blitzcrank goes down to White's in there as well. Now Salme kind of chasing through, couple of members of Royal quite low, but Renekton nowhere to really go here in this situation, and Wei Zhao just saying, look buddy, I can't really help you, nice flash, but the deadly venom from Twitch going to pick it up anyway.
Yeah, the double dots there, the Fizz W, and of course the Deadly Venom was ticking there. So a deceptive amount of damage coming out there. As we see Wei Zhao, he's thinking about this.
Yeah, he maybe wants to go in on this Godlike. That's a big mini wave he has to deal with though. I think he might think better of it. Yeah, just throw a Q out. I mean, he's going to get damage where he can, but Shen at this point, I mean, even just with Doran's cloth armor, given that Ezreal doesn't have too many items, he's just finished up his Manamune. Not too afraid there, I don't think, is Godlike, and rightly so, especially given that Wei Zhao's pretty much just there to clean out that CS.
That's the second time this LPL split that we've seen World Elite contest a dragon after Man has died, which is usually a sign that, okay, we've lost that global objective, we've lost our jungler, we don't even have a smite steal potential here, but they have been going and choosing to fight at dragons when they've been outnumbered, and it's a weird thing. I'm not sure who's making the calls. I'm not sure what the theory is behind it, but they've paid for it on both occasions.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing was that Messiah kind of went in there and he baited all of Royal. He locked him in place with his W, Ring of Frost. He was able to get in, but he ulted himself. Lissandra's ult does a good amount of burst damage and has that nice little AoE as well. So if they could find a follow-up ultimate, say if Salme was a little closer, then maybe that would have worked out. But he kind of went in there, put the stasis on himself to bait the rest of his team and buy them time to come through. And as you mentioned, no real follow-up there for World Elite. Does lose them quite a few people around that dragon and the dragon itself. They're now going to look to pressure mid and see what they can do here. In this one, they'd love to take out this objective, but looks like it's just going to drop to about 60% health there on that turret, and everything's going to be okay from there. And a little weird for World Elite to want to contest, I think I agree there, especially with all the assassins on the Royal side.
It's just one of those things where World Elite, known as a late game team fight team, known for making really smart and good calls in the late game, it's weird that they're really tripping up at these early game dragons.
Yeah, I mean, not something they traditionally did either. As you said, known as a late game team, they usually navigated the early to mid stages of the game very well. They always, I always love to describe their play as calculated and methodical. That's always how I've seen them play.
And that's not been the case in those two dragons. That's like the one exception to a team that's always been really, really smart and well thought out. So again, maybe it's the shot caller, maybe it's being in two minds about decisions, but they're not acting decisively. Now, Messiah went in there, went untargetable. That was a great move, but the follow-up wasn't there. So clearly the whole team wasn't on the same page.
No, and that's one of the things that, you know, they have to make sure they tighten up here. I mean, you cannot afford, if they're looking towards the top of the standings, to make those sort of mistakes against a team, say like OMG, who's very good at punishing you. And even Royal, especially with the way they like to pick some unique champions, Whites loves his Fizz, and the sort of things Royal tend to like to do, lean themselves towards generally quite aggressive play. I mean, they play Assassins a lot of the time. That's kind of Whites' wheelhouse, and even Tabe now loves to play his offbeat supports. He's playing Annie here in this one. I don't know, I'd be a little more careful there, but hey, at this point, the lead here for Royal, not too big. You know, they're going to continue this game here, and we'll see what happens at the next Dragon, I guess.
If we look at the CS values here, Uzi probably in the best position, and Shyvana actually also lucky, doing very well on the Royal side, whereas just pretty much equal across the board when it comes to World Elite.
Yeah, I mean, the bad news for Ezreal is that Blade of the Ruined King has been finished for Twitch now, and of course, we all know just how scary Blade of the Ruined King Twitch is. The pressure here down the bottom, I can spot Whites down there as well. I think he looked for a tower dive, but the rest of World Elite backed off. They're going to get this tower very cleanly, though. And that's a nice tower pickup there. We kind of mentioned Annie's auto attack range before, but one of the nice things it does, you've mentioned it, Papa, before with range supports in general, but having 625 range is really, really good for poking down turrets.
Absolutely, and any ranged champion is one of the reasons why the 2v1 meta evolves ranged champions, is just because, you know, the support can help from a safe distance to DPS down those turrets.
Right now, World Elite just kind of looking to protect this mid turret still. That's the important one. They got a good amount of damage done to Royal's mid tower in a last little push that they did there down the mid. And right now, if they can defend this one off him, Messiah did a beautiful job holding off the 2v1 as Lissandra, just making sure he stayed safe and cleared out the mini waves as fast as possible. And I mean, that is the center of the map they still have control over. The first mid tower to fall, I think, is going to kind of form an interesting position on the map where one team, the first team to do so, probably has quite a nice advantage. But I think at this point, everyone's just going to chill out. We'll farm for a little bit more. And in a few minutes when Dragon comes back up again, it'll be really interesting to see what sort of fight's forced. In fact, here come World Elite down the mid right now. I mean, Lucky's not really in position. If I'm going to go in there, Dragon Descent, changing Nightingale's in there as well, but he's been snared up. The damage comes through, but a good taunt there from God, like a spray and pray from Uzi. Actually going in, he grabs up Lucky. They're going to be able to kill Shyvana, and that's not a bad one there to kick things off. Messiah, though, forced to go into stasis. Salma needs to go deep there, and the flash out from Lissandra comes through. Renekton, though, stunned there by that Tibbers, and nowhere for that Renekton to go. Again, World Elite, a rare teamfight error, it seems like, once more. Salma absolutely wanted to go in, and it seems like everybody else wanted out.
Now the 1-for-1 trade, not so bad. They do lose the turret here, but one important factor, the Stand United will be on cooldown by the time the next dragon spawns. And before that fight broke out, I was going to comment that interesting that there's some very strong item thresholds that have been hit on the Royal side. We look down here, Lichbane completed on White's Fizz, Blade of the Ruined King long completed on Twitch. Now he's finished up his boots and got some extra crit chance there. Not the same can be said over on the World Elite side here, and that bodes poorly for World Elite when it comes to the next dragon.
Yeah, I mean, as you said it already, Lichbane, Blade of the Ruined King, Sunfire Cape for Shen, and even Spirit of the Ancient Golem, fairly key for that jungler as well there on Shyvana. And World Elite, as you said, they're almost there. You know, we've almost got a Sunfire for Salme, almost got a Zhonya's there for Messiah, and, you know, Wej's got a Man Immune. He'll be happy with that. The dragon is up, though, and Royal here, I mean, if World Elite are smart here, they do not want to fight against Royal right now, and I think realizing this, they're probably actually just going to back away. Unless Fizz can come in, maybe get a nice Blitzhook off. I think they're doing the right thing this time. Just get away from this dragon.
Definitely.
And they do. Royal there, pick it up again. They'll happily take a little gold lead through this one as well. They're actually creeping up towards 3,000 gold. The leader grabbed there, and Godlike's very nice there. The snare, they're not quite enough to get out of taunt range, but Shen very tanky at this reasonably early stage of the mid-game, able to tank through plenty of damage there and just taunt himself out of that one. World Elite desperately want this mid tower. I think they're going to get it here. A nice 5-man counter push coming out. You can see Wejel even prepping the Essence Flux there for a bit of extra attack speed, but Royal are in to defend. Twitch is roaming back up towards there as well. The hook looks there for Whites, but doesn't quite find it onto the fish, and World Elite, they're forced to back away here. They really can't afford to fight Royal head on right now, but they need to create some space on this map, or Royal are just going to roam through the jungle. And when it's a champion like Fizz moving through a jungle where you don't necessarily have vision, it's very, very scary.
Now this point's on Royal to set the trend for what happens in the next couple of minutes. These items needed to be completed on W4D3 before they pick a fight. The Sunfire Cape, the Zhonya's, which is just now being picked up. I mean, the Gauntlet to some degree on Ezreal here. Item thresholds are a very important thing, even if there's only a few thousand gold difference. If that's the difference between completed items and just picks, it's a big deal.
Yeah, Salmei here actually getting fished up by Chum the Waters. White's looking to 1v1 this Renekton, but team pressure coming through for both sides here. Lucky gonna just chill out there on Shyvana, throw out the E and back away. Whites didn't want to overcommit there. Smart play from Fizz, not going too far in. And W4D3, you can just see trying to clear out what they can. I believe red buff has been stolen away there, as I spotted Fizz clearing out those little lizards around that buff, so I think it's gone, although Weijia may have just picked it up already, so can't quite say yet. Godlike down the bottom lane here with his ultimate almost back up, should be up soon, and is level 11 nonetheless as well. He's going to be able to push with his very nicely timed Sunfire Cape here, and pressure's on for W4D3. Shen's down the bottom, the rest of Royal look very, very scary in a 4v4 skirmish. Have to make sure they react to this pressure accordingly.
And Xiaomei going to answer that Shen split push here.
Actually gets in for a bit of damage here. Ruthless Predator for a little bit of the stun. His Sunfire Cape's finished up now as well, so WorldElite don't seem too far behind on item thresholds. The gold lead a little different here, close to 4,500 between these two teams, but in general they seem to have hit item timings fairly shortly after they needed to here, and you know, if they can hold from this spot, maybe make something happen, then we'll have a very different game moving up here. And even, you know, Royal have a lead, but it's not a massive lead at this point.
Absolutely. The 4K here, it's the difference between what the 4K lead was a few minutes ago when it was those completed items versus those piecemeal, no recipes completed. And this case here, where people are sitting on quite a lot of gold on the Royal side, and the teams are a little bit more equal right now.
The only thing is, as you've always said, Papa, there is no good in unspent gold, basically, because of course, you know, it's just gold until you turn it into items by buying stuff up. But Royal, I love the Oracles here on Shyvana. Oracles was always good with Twin Bite there, and it's great now with the fact that Royal want to move through the center of the map that they've opened up and really just get as much vision as they can. This is where Fizzif would love to be on Blitzcrank, but right now he's really stuck in the lower third of the map here.
You're correct, yeah, and they just don't have those outer turrets. That's the OMG, not a trick so much, but the one thing you can say, oh, the tip is coming out there.
Oh, Tabe, very nice stun. The Chum the Waters in there as well. Man getting exploded. Not even a chance to EQ over to the trees. He put the banner down. He was ready to go. Then knock-up happened, and he got obliterated before able to get through there. And now Royal almost channeling OMG, as you mentioned them before. Now going to try and get onto this objective. Godlike, a very nice taunt. Tabana over the back in there as well, but Shen a little low there as Messiah actually uses his ult defensively. Salmei coming through in there as well. They're after Tabe, but Stand United's going to come in there on that one. The Zhonya's used there as well from Messiah. Uzi forced to flash away as Salmei picks up a very key double kill. Twitch now waddling out of ambush as well. Uzi maybe wants to pick off the few weak members here. He's going to creep around the side, but thinks better of it, and I think probably for good reason. He had not a whole lot of health there. And WorldElite with some very nice team play. Finally, it seems like a 3-for-1 trade under their tower. Very, very necessary defense there.
And awkwardly there, that would have been a perfect dive for Royal, but Spray and Pray had timed out by the time the dive was completed. Spray and Pray was activated to DPS down Man when he got exploded earlier, but by the time the team fight came out, did not have that pass-through damage where the application of the Blade the Ruin King passive and all that deadly venom probably would have made the difference.
Yeah, very well could have. I mean, you saw how low both Salmei and Weijia, got in that fight, so absolutely could have been the difference there. And Royal, you know, kind of moved back a little here. Still a decent lead, about 3,000 gold now, so WorldElite closed the gap by about 1,500 gold or so. I mean, White's looking really scary on this Fizz. It's always the thing with the Assassins, you're always afraid that they're going to go after you. A carry as the mid-turret goes down there for WorldElite. Very crucial, as we've said, to make sure they get one down. But Fizz, soon, at some point, reasonably soon, most likely, he's just going to be able to melt anyone. It's not going to be the carriers you have to worry about. It's going to be absolutely anybody he touches.
And that's why the Assassin always kind of has to be one step ahead. That's one of the reasons you don't see a lot of Fizz, is that he needs to be in burst potential of a tank rather than just, you know, the Ezreal in this case, the squishy AD carry here. And it's difficult to get that far ahead, you know, with ward coverage, with smart play. Assassins usually can't get massive in the mid game. And right here, right now, it's going to have to be a tank that's going to eat this Chum the Waters, just because Ezreal's so mobile and Lissandra has 5 seconds of untargetability.
Wide so with a great lane here, still about 30 CS ahead of Salmei. and had a really, really strong lane there with Lucky coming up to gang. He's doing well this time around. Not quite the score he might want, but 2-1-5, certainly respectable as we move through here. Sheen finished up for Ezreal now, so Iceborne Golden is on the way, and of course that Manamune ticking away as well. And it's nice, you've said it before, Papa, it's kind of like, you know, a little free shopping spree there. You just, oh, magically you get a free item, and you don't even have to go back and buy it.
Now, a big power spike with the gauntlet being finished, but W4D Elite not grouped for this dragon here. Will be a free dragon.
Well, once more, got that timing down pat. I mean, W4D Elite maybe didn't even want to fight there if they had the chance to. But Royal, I mean, as you said, W4D Elite kind of scattered across the map, going back to get the Iceborne Gauntlet, which they absolutely do need. A blue steal actually coming out there, as you can spot on the left-hand side of your mini-map. So a nice little steal there for W4D Elite. They'll take the small victory there as they can get it, but now this potentially looks quite scary. Don't think we have an Oracles on the roll. So, nope, never mind. Lucky still has his ticking away, and the Baron Pit is going to get contested here by Royal. This is absolute pressure for W4D Elite, because they have to know that they need vision around this area.
And this Ezreal Weizhou finally looking quite strong here with the red buff and the Iceborne Gauntlet completed. Just such a big power jump from just sitting on that naked Sheen before.
And it's really, I mean, blue Ezreal, this is the item that absolutely completes the build. I know all the items are blue, or some of them are purple, I guess, for building Blade of the Ruined King, but absolutely this is the one that ties it all together, and it's really kind of, I wouldn't say revived Ezreal, because he didn't really go away, but really just invigorated him as this.
It felt
very
like it might have been one nerf too many, right? When
Yeah.
Ezreal was nerfed last time. Then people started playing around with Spirit of the Elder Lizard. That, of course, has fallen off now. But the core tenets here, the amount of control and safety that you can get with that blue Ezreal, still a very popular map.
And we've seen, you know, his high mobility comes with blue Ezreal in them. We saw positive energy, I believe. The first team we really saw here in the LPL to kind of make that happen can be very, very good here. You know, when you've got Jarvan, when you've got CC on Blitz, when you've got someone like Lissandra, and even, you know, just throw Renekton in there, because why not? Blue Ezreal can be a very core tenet of how your team fight works. And, you know, if, as you mentioned, Whitesea really wants to kill him, he's probably not going to be able to, but still at this point, I like Royal's position. I think they want to be forcing an objective. It's just a question, Papa, what should they be doing now? Because they need to stay active on the map.
Yeah, from a Royal perspective here, they just need to start to get this exclusive Baron vision, get the aggressive wards down. They are against a pick comp, they are against, of course, the powerful Blitzcrank here, so any sort of aggressive warding they can get done, and if they can protect that, Baron is quite a realistic objective for them. They have Shen to split push, they can create a very unfavorable decision for W4D Elite, but they have to get that Oracles and those wards down first.
I think one of the things about Shen's split push right now, Godlike certainly able to push quite freely here. He's got his Sunflake AP, had it finished nice and early here at around the 15-minute mark or so. Salmei's just constantly been down there with Shen, just kind of keeping the lanes at parity. It doesn't seem like Godlike's at the stage where he's really scary. You know, we talk about someone like Zed, for example, who can
look right here, Pastry Time. This is the part they want. Salmei has to group here, and Shen does get a bit of free split pushing.
That's true. I mean, as he said, he has to be here. Shen can be wherever he needs to be, as long as his ultimate's back up here and the teammate's alive, which, you know, you're kind of hoping it is once Stanton United goes off here. I mean, Royal could move in on this Baron, but I think more importantly, as you've said, need to make sure they have vision here. In fact, Wei Zhao is actually going back right now. I mean, Royal can't know that, because of course they can't see the side of the map, but Wei Zhao's probably got a nice item to pick up here. Actually, cooldown boots he goes for here. I like it.
Yeah, it is the standard of the blue Ezreal. I mean, blue Ezreal makes Ezreal a hyper carry, which is a weird thing to say, right? You don't expect Ezreal's damage to ever be at the level of a Vayne, for example, a traditional hyper carry. Oh, as Lucky gets caught.
That's not good news there. Oh, Lucky there is the crab coming through. W4D Elite gonna try and dump on him, but the Stand United coming through, maybe not who they wanted. Now the damage coming through, their fist is very low there as he gets eaten by Taba in from the waters. Everybody from W4D Elite backs off here, and Weizhou gonna contribute a lot to kiting them off there, but Royal, that's one free pick. I mean, normally when you grab somebody as Blitz, you expect, you know, to start a 5v4, but Royal, they're able to capitalize, dump on that Blitzcrank there by all starting that off. I mean, Shen had to use his ultimate. Shyvana, not the ideal grab target though, and I think W4D Elite really paid for that initiation. I mean, you talk about Blitzcrank and how many good things he can do in a situation like that, but you have to make sure you pull the right person. There's the flash shot though onto Wei Zhao. He gets dumped on there as Annie goes through, and Royal looking very, very strong here against W4D Elite. It's just been assassination after assassination, and W4D Elite right now have no answer for what Royal are doing.
Even the very notoriously slippery Ezreal has no answer to the taunt flash Pastry Time. No travel time to that flash right there, to that taunt, sorry, there from Shen. They pick up the kill on the slippery hyper carry.
Yep, I'm going to kind of continue channeling OMG here, going to take out the tier 2 turret. And that's some nice objectives being picked up here by Royal. They're actually 5-2 up in turrets. Still holding, I believe, no, sorry, the top turret is the one that's still holding, not the mid turret, but still having an outer turret up. Still very nice here as we approach the 26-minute mark, just ticking up towards that. Fizz now with the Zhonya's as well, so if he wants to go deep on a carry like Wei Zhao, I mean, as we've said, kind of awkward with Arcane Shift being a thing and Iceborne Gauntlet generally being annoying, but if he goes deep in the back trying to pick up a squishy or just being aggressive, he can Zhonya's there and let the rest of his team follow up. And even at this point, the damage he's doing with just Lichbane Zhonya is quite scary, even for someone tanky like Salmei.
Yeah, he is a bit of a tank killer right there. He won't be able to take down Xiaomei, but then we saw the burst on Man before Man really hurting right here. Only level 10 at the 26-minute mark.
Yeah, Aegis not even finished up either here. I mean, he's close, he's got all the little bits for it, but he's got his Spirit of the Ancient Golem and not a whole lot else, unfortunately. And certainly that Bulwark going to be quite nice here against the Fizz damage that's coming through. And even against the residual anti-damage, Tabe actually doing a big chunk, picked up a few kills in the last fight as well, so... And his damage, you know, not super amazing, of course, if she was massively farmed, but not irrelevant either. Which is
the little buffs to Tibbers especially are super, super strong patient time because it gives Tibbers that permanent Sunfire cape basically in a team fight. It's hard to kill Tibbers, and it's really, really powerful.
Yeah, no, Tibbers is an absolute beast here. Tabe, oh, just getting missed on the grab. A great stun as well. Lucky over the top there. Standing out. It comes in Messiah. Activates his Zhonya's there, but White just blew up Man. Messiah again trying to protect himself up, but it's not quite enough there. Salmei diving in the backline. He's trying to distract that Twitch, but Uzi mops him up with not much help there, unfortunately. A 3-0 fight win there for Royal, and now they're going to move on to this Baron.
It's crazy to think that more pick pressures coming out of Annie this game than from Blitzcrank.
Yeah, and I think that says a lot about World Elite's position in this game. I mean, Blitzcrank looks amazing when you're kind of ahead in front of Ace. Fizz is going to get very deep there trying to look for the steal, but does not pick that one up either. Shyvana able to get there, and I think if Fizziv's doing stuff like that, it really demonstrates the desperation World Elite must have felt there. I mean, they're actually 10,000 gold behind Royal at the 28-minute mark.
And I think to complete your point, Blitzcrank does look amazing when you're ahead, but I think it's not just that OMG are outskilling all these other Chinese teams, and that's the reason why they're doing so well. It's the fact that OMG, they picked that Blitzcrank a lot because their core team comp just revolves around early turrets, and especially getting down that early mid turret, and then translating it into that really powerful mid-game pressure that Blitzcrank puts out. If that's not your core objective when you pick Blitzcrank, you're just not setting yourself up for victory, just like OMG does. Yeah,
and you saw World Elite, they tried to pressure the mid turret when they got an opportunity, but didn't really hammer away at it. Were kind of stuck in that 1v2 initially, and it didn't go down really for a point where Blitzcrank could do what he wants to do and roam through with an Oracles and clear out wards and get those picks off with Rocket Grab. And Royal have just kind of been slightly ahead in that stage of the game where World Elite might have really wanted to be roaming through the mid game, and ever since that point hit, there's just been nothing they can do. I mean, Godlike here might get grabbed, but Shen is not afraid of what's happening.
No, and Fizziv not quite big Pomelo with the Blitzcrank mechanics.
Doesn't pick that one up there. I mean, World Elite sticking together here. But I mean, the split push is on here for Royal, and if there was ever a time where you were happy to be split pushing, it's, 5 members with Baron buff with, I have to say, a very scary 4v4, and that's always what you want to think about when you think of Shen, because, Shen himself, if he's even or ahead, he's going to be fine most of the time, but you need to make sure you can fight 4v4, and Royal, honestly, if they get the right picks, could easily fight 4v5 here, and that's, of course, assuming that Sanjanato doesn't happen at some point in the team fight when it starts.
Oh, World Elite just camped by their inner turret here. They're accepting whatever Godlike's doing up top and kind of just waiting for the inevitable here, whether it's going to be a dive, whether it's going to be a Blitzcrank pull. Nothing seems to be working for World Elite when it comes to team fights this game.
And, for a team that, as we've said, generally looks really consistent, they've been stuck in their lower third of the map here towards their base for quite a while now against Royal. I'd say probably at least 10 minutes at this point, possibly a few more. There's Tabe again, getting the picks out. There's the assassination coming through from Whites. And he said it before, Papa Smithy, and he's just picking off people left, right, and center. And poor Blitzcrank, a reasonably tanky champion, especially with that mana barrier, just no answer for that Fizz burst.
Yeah, as we see Shen, you can see on the minimap here, wailing away on top turret. No picture-in-picture, but no doubt quite a lot of damage done there. Is the outer turret going down for World Elite here as well?
The tier 2's going to fall, and I mean, you kind of saw it there. World Elite were grouped at this tier 2 that just got taken out. And Godlike, he was just happily one away. In fact, they're going to ride him in now. Lucky maybe looks for the ultimate, but decides not to fire it off. Instead, just happy to pressure this inhibitor turret. And this inhibitor, very difficult to defend. Fizziv's coming back, but Blitzcrank not going to add too much here. Goes down quickly enough anyway there. And Royal, very dominating push there with that Baron. I mean, had the perfect position to just put Shen up the top and put everyone else down the bottom. They're going to go in again. The flash shot onto Messiah. He gets demolished by Uzi as Spray and Pray gets activated there. And World Elite, their early game didn't go great. Royal have rode an absolutely impressive wave of aggression through this game. And looking like OMG as Salmei gets literally eaten by a shark.
And the surrender vote actually comes out here. Pace of time. A massive statement from World Elite here. 32 minute surrender. They were just outmaneuvered once again. I mean, I gotta say, Godlike played just superbly there. It felt like every 5 minutes or so when that flash was off, a point and just beautiful taunt flash would come out and just take down an objective or two. It's beautiful play there, and we leave at the 4th week of the LPL here. OMG way up the top, 11-1. Positive Energy after losing their game today, 9-3. World Elite and IG, the old enemies, the top 2 teams in China before the LPL came around, both kind of feeling a bit sorry for themselves and joined 3rd place at 7-5. Royal here finally hit that 50% win rate at 6-6 and sniffing around 3rd place there, as you can see. Only 1 win away. LMQ and YG, 4-8, and EPHK, just 1 win on the board, but at least they have some pride after picking up that win.
Yeah, and that's it as we get through about the halfway point here for the Tencent LPL Summer. Been absolutely fantastic set of matches, and of course, if you'd like to catch today's matches or any of the other matches from this week, feel free to head over to youtube.com/LOLChampSeries and you can check out all the VOD coverage here. We are done though for this week here as we finish week 4 there, and a great day it was too. My name is Pastry Time, I've been joined by Papa Smithy, we are Papa Time, and we're signing off for the Tencent LPL Summer.